Call to order, please. This is time and place for a city commission meeting. I'm here in South Dakota, September 26, 2022. Call to order. I need a roll call, please.
Smith.
Here.
Weinreich.
Here.
Wright.
Here.
Rubbish.
Present.
Mayor Harrington.
Here. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Agenda approval. Does anybody on the commission have any additions or deletions to our agenda tonight? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Commissioner
Second.
Weinrich moves to approve. I need a second on this.
Second.
Commissioner Robish, a second. We need a roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Weinreich.
Aye.
Wright.
Aye.
Rubbish.
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. Public forum. Public comments may be sent during the live meeting broadcast on the city's YouTube channel. The link is listed on the city's website at www.huronsd.gov. Click on Government and then City Commission. In order to use the YouTube chat feature, please create an account with your YouTube and Gmail or use existing accounts. Please state your name and address for the record. Public forum is limited to a maximum of 3 minutes per person. In the back of the room, we have our HR Director, Nathan Hofer. He's on our computer back there, so you can get on your YouTube and you want to ask a question, Nathan will pull it up, and if he thinks it's something we can handle tonight, he'll let us know, and we'll try to answer your questions. If not, we'll get back to you as soon as we can with an answer for you. So that's how we'll roll tonight with that. At this time, City Commission is going to adjourn to convene as a Board of Adjustment for the following public hearing. And for that, it's 4.1. I'm going to turn it over to the City and Planning Commission, Barry Kranzler, to talk about this.
Thank you, Mayor. 4.1 is a variance request filed by CSL Properties of North Dakota LLC. Project address is 1100 Lincoln Avenue Southwest. The variance is to construct a steel building or steel buildings to house mail trucks where the code does not allow this commercial use, nor the use of metal and steel covering for structures in an area zoned R4 multifamily residential district. The hearing examiner looked at this, and given that there's commercial property on the west side of the street and commercial property to the south side within 400 feet with semi-commercial agricultural, this is where the hoop barns that the conservation district has. This property is right on the north side of that on Lincoln Avenue right there. So given that, and then the multifamily use, the hearing examiner felt that this was not an intrusive use, that it was somewhat commercial in nature and should fit in. The only thing that we as staff recommended is we just noted that anytime there is a residential district that will border a commercial use, there is a requirement that a fence be installed. A 6-foot opaque fence needs to be installed on the north property line. And so anytime, and then if there is residential development on the east side along Minnesota there, then there would need to be a buffer, a 6-foot opaque fence installed there as well. And that's according to ordinance, that is not affected by this variance. That's something that would be enforced via the permit process. And so both Chris and I looked at this, the building inspector, and we both felt it was a reasonable use, and we both recommended approval, as did the hearing examiner.
Before we have discussion, I need a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Move to approve. Commissioner Bragg, need a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Smith. Now for discussions. Anybody got any questions? Yes, Commissioner Bragg.
So you note, or it's noted in the meeting notes that there was a question about drainage and addressing that. Other than kind of the hand-drawn plan for the commercial buildings or potentially being on that south side, is it hardscape, or are they pouring concrete, is it?
It'll be probably an improved surface, probably a mixture, and they're here if we have any questions on them, but my understanding is we've been led to believe there would be some gravel and some concrete. For the concrete pads would most likely be going on the entrances into the truck suites.
Correct.
Okay.
You want to?
Yeah, you want to come up
Oh,
with
sure,
your
yeah.
name and?
Yep. My name's Craig Lanou, CSL. I have the mail routes here in town, I own them, and so I need some parking for my trucks. And so after looking for a place to get a lot or a building, I found this here lot, and I said, hey, this is gonna work, you know? So, didn't spend a lot of money on it until I get an approval, and then we'll bring you a plan in. We would like to finish off on the east side, finish off with the houses that are there, you know, the rows. So we got, 3 spots figured out where we could put houses on the end of that property. And then we'll build little pods, probably 4 at a time, 4 stalls at a time. Park our mail trucks inside.
And that's the area that we're talking about, would be kind of a mixed use of gravel and concrete.
Yeah, because it'd be pretty wide, but there would be he's gonna be doing the concrete work,
Right.
so he knows, how far we actually need away from the building.
But the drainage plan would be a part of that permitting
Oh, yeah.
process, so that we
Yeah.
make sure that we are not draining into the back end of those houses and causing a surface water problem.
So then would there'll be the area with structures, there'll be some hardscape in front of that, some gravel, then right now it's all grass.
Correct.
This is a pretty big parcel, so would some of it still just be left as grass then, or?
Some, once we lay it out, there's gonna be some against the hoop barns. There'll be some against the apartments on the other side, and then the space between the buildings. So there will be ample grass,
Yeah,
correct?
there will be a requirement for landscaping,
Yeah.
just, as a overall parcel, there will be a landscape plan required too.
Once we get down to that point, then we'll give you some drawings, and then, we gotta get them approved, so it's okay.
Any other yes, Mr. Roder?
So I don't know, and you said like you haven't spent all your money yet, I guess, and that's okay, but, so you're planning on buying the whole parcel,
Correct.
and on the east end, you may do housing, but are you going to do housing?
Those will be lots
They
to
will.
be sold on that east end, that is correct.
Okay, and so when I drove by there, I don't remember where our curb and gutter stopped there. I don't know if we were having.
The curb and gutter stops a little to the north of there.
So I didn't know if we were having nightmares when we did that street or what, but we left one block out, one half a block out. I'm not sure why we ever did that, but that's,
And that'd be kind
I'll
of the
take
south of us,
responsibility.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's to the south of there, right?
Yeah.
but I would like to see that done before, not before. I would like to see that done if we're gonna have more traffic and whatever in there, because it should have been done anyway.
Well, it was the previous developer was supposed to do that.
I get you, I get that, and I was sleeping on that, and I take responsibility.
I'll second that.
Well, you be quiet back there, but anyway. I guess I want the landowners to know that that is in the works.
Mhm.
That would be my wish and desire and command.
Yeah, no, I think it'd be a good project, and we'll clean it up and get it mowed up so it looks presentable. So the last hay bales that are there, those are the last hay bales, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? No more hay bales in town.
Anyway, I'd like to put that in there so that the landowners know that that's in the works.
But you're not suggesting that he as the developer of this
No.
parcel put that in on the other adjacent property.
No,
Okay.
I'm wanting him as a new landowner to know that I'm
Right.
going to bring that up if
Yeah.
nobody else is.
Right.
Okay,
Okay.
there you go.
Sorry, I just wanted to clarify.
Yep, yeah, you're right.
Just to.
Yes, Commissioner Wonders.
So if we approve this variance to allow these structures in R2,
Or 4.
R4, does that affect him replotting these, or how is that gonna work when he wants to replot them into, you know, R4?
If he replats them, he would have to go in front of the planning commission.
And,
If he chooses not to replat them, what we would require is a building plan that's somewhat similar to a preliminary plat plan that would show us where the buildings are going to be. So because of the need for the drainage plan and the landscaping plan, we're gonna have to have some layouts done so that we can make sure that the design is proper.
Yes, Commissioner Smith?
Just a few general questions for you, Craig, but the mail trucks that you're talking about, they're like the single axle
Correct.
box truck
Correct.
kind of a thing?
Yeah, correct.
And how many of those are you putting?
Well, we probably got 12 trucks here in town, plus some spares.
Sure.
You know, because one day they're gonna probably sell them lots across the street from the post office there, and they're gonna say, hey, get that stuff out of here, you know, so.
Yeah.
Trying to be proactive.
Yeah. And then, give me an idea of what the traffic times are of those trucks, because they're running
Well,
all
they would
different hours.
probably start at 3 in the morning. And then work all the way till probably about 4:30. And then they don't, and then again, in the evening, they'll be starting to come back about 5:30 to 6:30 in that range.
Yeah. Kind of thinking that even though that used to be a truck bypass, it's still, it shouldn't be an issue as far as concentration of traffic in
Right.
that area. Think
Yeah.
about the schools getting out and all that.
Sure. Yeah, we'll be long gone before the school opens, and they'll be home before we get back.
Right, yeah. And then are you anticipating, with that many trucks, are you anticipating any kind of a repair shop of some
No,
nature in there?
all buildings will have doors on them. We're not, it's not gonna be like, we got this one tore off and sitting here, and this one tore apart sitting here. That won't happen.
Okay. All right.
No.
That's all I needed. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Craig.
You're welcome.
Do all your trucks sit outside now?
Most of them.
Yeah. That'd be quite a change.
It'd be a big change, yeah. But it's needed, you know, because we'd like to sleep at night knowing, is everything gonna start, you know? So, it's a good change.
Yeah.
And it'll generate dollars for the city, taxes and utilities.
Good. Okay. Any other questions for Craig?
I just wanted to mention for the record, we did have some area residents call in. None really voiced any opposition to my knowledge. They were merely inquiring as to what the project was going to be. The one that was the most interested was clear over on Michigan Avenue, which is over 1,000 feet away from the area that he's talking about, or not quite 1,000 feet. But we did have some inquiries for the record.
Okay. All right. Thanks,
Okay.
Craig.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you.
All right. Time for call for a vote on this. A roll call vote to approve or disapprove this variance. Roll call vote.
Smith.
Aye.
Weinreich.
Aye.
Craig.
Aye.
Robish.
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. The Board of Adjustments adjourns to reconvene as a city commission. We're gonna go to the consent agenda. Matters appearing on the consent agenda are expected to be non-controversial and will be acted upon by the commission at one time without discussion, unless a member of the commission requests an opportunity to address any given item. Items removed from the consent agenda will be discussed in the beginning of the formal items. Consent agenda, 6.1, minutes of the September 19th, 2022 City Commission. 6.2, fuel quotes for city departments. 6.3, personnel items, recommend hiring Kristen Sufras for the year-round part-time library clerk position. Recognize the resignation of Christopher Hop from the solid waste one position, and request permission to post and advertise solid waste maintenance one position. 6.4, payment of the bills. I entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Move to approve consent.
Okay, Commissioner Smith moves to approve.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Whitehouse. We're going to have a roll call vote on the consent agenda, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Weinreich.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Robish.
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. Bid quote items, 7.1. I see we have our Assistant City Engineer here tonight. Dennis, would you give us a lowdown on 7.1, please?
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. This is our third and final payment for our portion of the Dex building construction. This is for the storm sewer that had to be rerouted. We got $720,000 from DANR with ARPA money, so this should take care of that.
Okay. I'd entertain a motion for 7.1.
Move to approve.
Move to approve, Commissioner Robish. Need a second on 7.1.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Bragg. Any discussion on this item? Seeing no discussion on this item, need a roll call vote on 7.1.
Smith.
Aye.
Weinreich.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Robish.
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. 7.1 is passed. Petitions and communications, 8.1, and we're going to call on our financial director to explain this one for us.
Thank you, Mayor. This is our annual funding agreement with US Geological on the gauging station for the river. We do this every single year. The amount is increased by $30. I just asked for approval on this, please.
Okay. I'd entertain a motion on 8.1.
Move to approve 8.1.
Commissioner Smith moves to approve. Need a second on 8.1.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Bragg on 8.1. Roll call vote. Discussion, any discussion on this item, I guess? I doubt there will be. Okay, roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Weinreich.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Robish.
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. 8.1 passed. Ordinance and resolutions, 9.1 and 9.2, our city attorney Tucker Valesky will explain those to us or tell us where we are on this item.
Thank you, Mayor. 9.1 is the second reading of ordinance number 2239-30-242, annual appropriation for 2023.
Okay. I need a motion to approve on 8.1. I'm sorry, 9.1.
Move to approve 9.1, second reading.
Okay. Need a second on this item?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Smith. Okay. Any discussion on this item?
I'm just gonna give you some quick overview.
Sure.
Just, nothing's changed too much. Property taxes, we were fortunate enough to have 3% increase plus 1.29% for growth, which is a total of $232,981. We have not seen that growth since 2014, so experience to see. First and second penny and third penny sales tax, we budgeted with a 10% increase. As we get down in salaries, we worked on a salary study, we received that. I know the commission is working with the unions right now to implement those things. So numbers are in the budget, but as you work through that, we'll hopefully have that covered. Work comp is increased. In here it's 11%, but actually they changed our modifiers, so it was only 9. So we have a little cushion there. And then the same with our property and equipment. I just had a meeting last week, and they're going to average it out to 12. So instead of 16% increase at 12, we got a little cushion we have in the budget there. Capital assets, we've been sitting on that approval for quite a while. Departments and commission, we did well there. Total request for second penny of $4,042,720. Water is $3,751,000. Sewer is $2,052,000. Solid waste, $6,953,000, and again, that includes the transfer station project. Outside budget requests, community improvement was $9,000, Huron housing $50,000, community counseling $3,000, the senior center $10,000, community van $2,000, Dakota Land Museum $5,000, Needle County Humane Society is $75,000, People's Transit is $25,000, Greater Huron is $165,000. The Chamber CBB is $255,000, which is third penny funds, and the South Dakota State Fair is $25,000, which again is third penny funds. The enterprise funds, cost of living on the water, these rates are still based on our salary we did the study we did a couple years ago, 4% on water, and which actually comes out to about a cost of living when we actually look at the expenses and revenue. And then 7.7% increase on the sewer as well. We'll close on that project hopefully by the end of this year and know we will be up for rates as we continue forward. Solid waste, at this time we increased 11%. We're hoping to start those increases because we know there'll be some debt coverage requirements we'll need for borrowing on the transfer station. Total budget this year is $46,265,115. This is a 14% increase over 2022 at $40 million. Again, the cost of doing business is higher, as well as some larger projects with the transfer station and some park and rec projects. So I think all in all, it was a good budget. Budget is always hard. And I thank all of you and staff and department heads for working through it with us. And I recommend approval. One more note, sorry. I didn't make you guys a big copy, 100 pages of the whole budget. If you want one, I'll get it to you. Otherwise, it'll be the end of the year that I'll pass out the department budgets. If you want, I'll get the whole budget for the city, just let me know and I'll make that copy.
Good. Very good. Any other discussion on this item? Yes. Right.
Real quick one, just in terms of the sales tax and all that, the news was just out about the special tax from the state fair. Does that go in as general third penny, or do you have that in a different category, or how does that?
There's an excise bedboard and booze, it's all considered the 1 or 1.5%.
Okay.
So we'll see it as a 1%.
Okay. Any other discussion on this item? Okay, I need a roll call vote on 9.1, which is a 2039 budget ordinance 2023.
Smith.
Aye.
Weinreich.
Aye.
Wright.
Aye.
Robish.
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. Okay. Passed. 9.1 passed. 9.2, Tucker, would you go through that, this
Yes,
please?
thank you, Mayor. 9.2, second reading of ordinance number 2241-24-9 pertaining to subdivisions, final plat. As noted last week, this is a change in the ordinance to delete language requiring that final plat be submitted for approval within 6 months after approval of the preliminary plat. This is recommended by the Planning Commission.
Move to approve 9.2.
Commissioner Bragg moves to approve 9.2. Need a second on 9.2.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Robish. Any questions on this item? Seeing none, we need a roll call vote on 9.2, a second read ordinance of subdivision and final plat.
Smith.
Aye.
Weinreich.
Aye.
Wright.
Aye.
Robish.
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. 9.2 passed. Okay, departmental items. 10.1, and I believe Chad's going to come out and talk to us on this one. Departmental items 10.1. It's to consider a request for information technology specialist to conduct a risk assessment on city infrastructure. I need a motion to approve.
Can we just,
Here, but first.
You good?
I can, whatever you want, Mayor, I can move to approve if you want for discussion, however you want to handle it.
We'll have to vote on it.
Yeah, we can, you can get a motion, so
You
we
have
can
a
open
motion,
it
yeah,
up for
motion
discussion.
approved. Commissioner Bragg, motion approved. Need a second.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Smith. Okay, now discussion.
Questions for me? I know.
maybe,
I can talk
Give
over
us-
your heads all night long if you want. We make this fast
Give
as
us
simple as
an
possible.
overview of what you have.
So what it is in my risk management class, we're supposed to do a risk assessment project as kind of a final project due by end of November. What it is using one of the frameworks that's available to do a risk assessment for an organization. And what better place, since I work here, than to utilize that assessment to see some things that maybe even I don't notice or I haven't noticed, and some things I do. And like I said in my memo, it is for the three critical infrastructures that the city of Huron has: police and fire, and dispatch, which is emergency services, water, wastewater facilities, and governmental buildings. It's a non-invasive risk assessment, so it's not penetration testing. We're not seeing how far into data we can get at. It's more of talking with staff, the commission, kind of what you want to see from it, what I want from you as far as information, the service level agreements from the police department, water treatment plant, things like that. So we can look at the nuts and bolts of, what makes those work and what is and isn't in those contracts that we might not be aware of that is our responsibility, or we've let somebody off the hook from their responsibilities. So in the end, we'll go through, do all that, and I come back, probably be in December with a full proposal, what was found, and 3 remediations to each of the infrastructures for next year, 2025.
Chad, are you looking at this from a technological perspective?
It's actually physical and digital, so it isn't just from the technology side, or the computer's security. It's the doors get locked. Who has keys to the doors? How easy would it be to get into a door? If there's doors, do they have alarms? Do the alarms work?
Okay.
Those kinds of things. So it's everything. And there is some of the technology. Do you have antivirus? Do we have protection on the computers? Is the network got protection? Are the systems on a separate network? Are they on the same network as the day-to-day operations? Those kinds of things. And then, like I said, the agreements will kind of, with, for instance, the police department, with Zerker, what kind of contract do they have with us as far as the security of the network and their information, who has access to it, who doesn't, what's controlled by them, what's controlled by us.
Sure. So it doesn't really get into necessarily the management of the departments or
No.
the functions of the department. It's strictly from a risk assessment.
Right.
Yeah, Commissioner.
So, just in terms of your time and workflow, if this was a class project and you did it on a different business, that would be all on your time outside of what you're doing now. Now, if you do this work and it provides some benefit for the city, is that something where we're gonna have an overlap in terms of your hours that you're putting in on it, because we will have a final product, or how do you see that?
I hadn't really considered the work on that. I mean, every job has a little bit of downtime, and a lot of it is gonna be email stuff, so it won't interfere with the day-to-day, so, and already is to pay for my education, so. Are we paying extra for that, or is it just? But I do get what you're asking.
Well, I mean, because, you know, we're gonna end up with a product out of this, whereas
Yes.
if you chose to do it at a different site, we wouldn't, so, you know, I think that should be part
Yeah,
of
it does add value to the city too, and in the end, we have, you know, tangible document that says, you know, well, these are what's wrong, these are the things that need to be corrected, and then, you know, that gives us that framework to start maybe doing those annually or every couple of years. And you don't wanna do it once and then it's just something that falls off the.
My question, Mayor.
Yes.
So what happens with the information once you've completed it? Do you have to do like a class project?
I do have to do like the executive summary and the final documentation, the final project, what you will receive is the same thing that I turn in to my professor.
You're not like presenting it in front of a class?
I haven't heard that I have to do a presentation. I think I have to do a slide deck as if I was going to do a presentation, so when we come back in December, the presentation I do here about what the findings were would be the same thing that they get.
My only thing is, you know, if there's information that you find in doing this risk assessment that, you know, and then there in turn you're presenting it, is that something we want public?
Yes, no. I mean, obviously, if there are some major red flags, we want to mitigate those before that information would be released. I don't foresee any of those. But the fact that we are also government, I think a lot of that leaves us open to open government laws.
And I do think, you know, they've added that other exec, that if there is something security-wise that could be discussed in executive session if we have to do that.
And it's something like that, if there was something like that, I could redact that out of what goes to DSU.
Very good. Very interesting. Any other questions for Chad on this item? Thanks, Chad. Good luck with that. Okay, we're gonna need a vote on 10.1, risk assessment memos.
Smith.
Aye.
Weinreich.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Robish.
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. 10.1 passed, that's risk management assessment memos. That's it for tonight.